When reviewing results, the filter drop-down is where you turn all the different results on and off. So you can turn on and off each system type, and you can choose to view all results, which is probably too much, so you can turn that off and then click custom, and that is a good way for then you to choose which results you want to see. So firstly, you could click on pipe, choose the pipe diameter, and that will then appear. The more information that you turn on, the more crowded the drawing will get. It works a little bit like Google Maps, where the closer you zoom in, the more information you can see. And then if you didn't want to see hot water, for example, or warm water, or gas, you can turn those off. If you wanted to look at the results relating to flow rates, I would recommend having custom selected, and as you come down on the pipe, you can turn on the loading units, or the fixture units, turn on the peak flow rate, and the recirculation flow rate as well. And here you'll be able to look at how many loading units go through every segment of pipe and what that converts to in terms of a peak flow rate. If it doesn't look like it's adding up correctly, it's probably because you've got continuous flows like we do have here for the fire system. To review the residual pressure, I would have custom turned on at the top. Then I would go through, and at the flow source, the residual pressure there is the starting pressure, and then at any fixtures and any nodes, we can turn on the pressure, and that will be the pressure after the pressure drop through pipes, valves and fittings, and any height differences. If you want to review the pressure drop through the system, you can turn those on at fittings and at pipes and at the valves as well. And you can also just choose to see the residual pressure. So we can see here now the residual pressure at different points of the system. And of course, the further away from the flow source we get, the lower the residual pressure gets. To review your static pressure results, I would make sure to have custom turned on at the top. And then at the flow source, we can see what the starting static pressure is. And at the fixtures, we can also turn the static pressure on there. This result is really just the difference between the height of the flow source and that fixture. But if you want to review the static pressure through the system, a good way is to turn it on at the fittings. And then as pipes change height, you'll see throughout the system the static pressure. The recirculation pump duty can be turned on at the hot water plant. That will give you a flow rate and a pressure drop for the recirculation pump based on the heat loss and pressure loss through the whole system. You can also see a heat load in kilowatt. Then for every pipe, you can see what recirculation flow rate has been calculated. And all the recirculation pipes have been sized based on that and a maximum velocity. And based on the pressure drop, the whole system is balanced. And you can then see the kV value at each balancing device. To view the velocity results, tick the box next to pipe, and as you tick velocity, you can see the velocity going through each segment. If you want to know how that's calculated, you can turn on the peak flow rate and the internal diameter. It's a combination of those two things that give you the velocity result. So that is being calculated based on the maximum parameter that you set in the settings. If you did want to change it in the plotting workspace, you can override that velocity. So if we change that now to 1 meter per second, we'll see that that pipe size increases, but the velocity decreases. The pipe size results are based on two key things. One is the peak flow rate calculation method, and the second is the methodology of how you would like to size your pipes. So choose what works best for your project, and in the flow system settings, each flow system will have the parameter where you can set a maximum velocity or the maximum pressure drop per meter, or you can select both. Then as you come to your results, you'll see that the pipes have been sized, and you can look at the velocity through every pipe, and you can look at the pressure drop. Now that's across the whole length, so you might want to turn the length on as well, so you can work out the pressure drop per meter. With the dead leg results, it's important to understand that the warm water or the hot water dead leg results will be calculated all the way back to the recirculation system, but the cold water results will only go back to a pipe that supplies more than that single fixture. But once you know that, you can then go through and review the dead leg results for the amount of water volume in that pipe, the length of the pipe, and then the wait time is an estimate based on the peak flow rate. Heat maps are a great way to visualize the results from a high level. Starting with the residual pressure here, we can see the different colours, and with the graph on the right hand side, which you can edit in this drop down menu, you can see what colours relate to roughly what pressure. So we're starting with yellow coming from the flow source, and as we go up the building and lose pressure, it turns green. And then on the outlet of the pump, where there's extra pressure in the system, it goes to more orange colour. And then for other things, like looking at the pressure drop through the system and even maximum velocity, you can see which parts of the design contribute to different factors of the results.